Like
I
finding
feel like we talked about a
having
certain
it
time, but I don't remember.
having it by at least the festival, right? Have them out, or are we trying to do earlier than that?
No, if we have the designs ready by the festival, that'll probably do it. Because the goal wasn't to make them into canvas. Okay, we back now.
That's a good height, right? Good.
Yeah, actually, I might just. Yeah, yeah, we're good. Okay, we're ready.
Fresh off the boat.
Bobby Rock. Yeah, my dad makes like shoes or something. Like he's got like a slipper pair of fish. It's like white and it's got like the twisted fabric over it. Yeah, my cousin might be. I mean, that's a.
Ungere camerae tavi. Auam. 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 Amusun panatir, sawek suamintin panatir, audu ama, keti paheru. Amusun panatir, sawek suamintin panatir, audu ama, keti paheru. Amasun panatir, sawek swamintin panatir, audu ama, keti paheru. Amasun panatir, sawek swamintin panatir, audu ama, keti paheru.
Jerat coming round. I'm in Rod and Ma'at, I'm in Kef, Netaru, Kepler, Her, Abuja, F, Utum, Meadow, Kepa, Netaru, Atmua, Ilimesh, Ten Kensunu, Adion Sunu, Wepanu, Waker, Sinef, Sejum, Sedemekin, NTM, Betanu, Am, Kef, Nesnef, Nekum, Senti, Mi, Sekum, Ab, Wapi, Ma'ar, Hino, Usu. Neturugin Kesunek, Verseka, Wayu, Kimam, Set, Howie, Wakesefu, Nuatetsunu, Jetsenek, Iamatep, Gigituna, Turnabu, Oxpector, Satu, Adienti, Kimam, Unanet, Amin, Ketu, Nebet, Atmu, Harokuti, Yuhu, Jetsanu, Yuhu, and Nekin, Aminu. Senek Talim Kimam Nekin, Amjarekin Oatnebet, and Nekin Setnebet, Kauinpet, second time, Matut, what you were. Kinkin Efa Upatu, Aina Fenomentu. Woman. Woman, bra. Woman. Woman, bra. Amin Keda F Neb Netaru, Kepper Her Abuja F, Utumedu Kepa Netaru, Aswan Rimemesh, Tinkin Sanu, Adion Sanu, Wepanu Waker Sinef, Sedum Sedemekin Intium Betanu, Am Kef Nesnef, Nekum Senti Mi Sekum Ab, Wapi Ma'ar Hino Usu. Nitruin Kesunek, Versekau Bayu Kimam Sekau In Kesefu Nuatetsunu, Jetsenek Iamatep, Gigitun Eternal, Oxpeter Satu, Adienti Kimam Unanet, Amin Kesunabet, Asmu Herlokuti, Yuhu Nuajetsunu Yuhu, and Nekin Aminu, Senek Ta Em Kimam Ekin. Anjarekin Oatnebet, and Mekin Setnebet, Kauin Pet, second ta, Matut, what you were. Kinkin Nefa Upatu, Anina Phenomentu. Woman. Woman, Ra. Woman. Woman, Ra. Amin Keda F Neb Netaru, Kepper Her Abuja F, Utumedu Kepa Netaru, Asmua Rimesh, Tenken Sanu Adion Sanu, Wepanu Waker Sinef, Sejum Sedemekin Natium Betanu, Am Kef Nesnef, Nekum sensi mi sekama, wapi ma'ar hina usu. Netrunem kesu nek, sekau bayu kimam sekau in kesefu nuatet sunu, jesenek imatep, yigitun eternabu, oxpector satu, ayenti kimam unanet. Amin to the bet, Atmu Harakuti, Hiyubnu Imajet Sanu Erdu, and Rekin Erd Aminu, Senekta and Kimam again, Anjarekin Oatnabet, and Unekin Setnabet, Kauman Pet, Sekenta, Matut was she were. Kinkenef abukatu, ainef kamamintu. Auaman, Auamin ra, Auaman, Auamin ra, Amin ra nemaat, Amin kenef neteru, Kemper Ujaf, Utsumedu Kemper neteru, Atmuarigamesh, Tinkin sanu Arion sanu, Wepanu wa Ersenef, Sejum Selemekim Entium Bentanu, Amab Kefnesnef, Nekum Senti Mi Sekam Ab, Wapi Ma'ar Hino Wusu. Neteruknyam kesu enek, sekau bayu kimam setau in kesefu nuatep sanu, jetsenek iamatep, yitun eternabu, oxpector satu, ayenti kimam unet. Amin ketu nabet, atmu harakuti, iyunu no jet sanu yuhu, and rekin aminu. Senek tahem kimam ekin, anjarekin outnabet, inamekin setnabet, kauan pet, second ta, matut what you were. Kinkenef abupatu, ainef hamamintu. Auaman, Auamin ra, Auaman, Auamin ra,
All right, today's Hesi is located on the inside front cover of the program, and the words are Inu and Ma'at Ra, Tut Nu and Ma'at Ra. We are in the eye of Ra. Our image is seen in the eye of Ra. As we get closer and closer to the summer solstice, it's only appropriate, it's only right that we invoke the Ra energy, the Ra presence, that we give gratitude for the sun. It's beautiful outside, it's warming up, and we should feel warm and light and radiant in alignment with what's happening in the cosmos. So let's do this. Y'all ready? Whoa! The current heaven's ready. Are the rest of y'all ready?
No!
Hey, you like you ready? Do our answer. All right, so reminder that on Saturday, June 8th, we will be at the Tribute to the Ancestors of the Middle Passage in Coney Island in Brooklyn. The ceremony begins at noon on the boardwalk with libation. And there are multiple different activities and things that happen throughout the course of the ceremony. We encourage you all to plan to be there at noon at the start of the event. Those of you who will be traveling to meet us there, some of you New Yorkers will meet us there. We plan to be there about 11:45. Those of you who are in New Jersey who would like to carpool with us, I will be sending out an email about where we'll be meeting and things like that. So again, if you're planning to and would like to join us, please save that date. We generally plan for it to be a pretty long day. That's all we do that day. So, please plan to be there in time for libation and plan to stay for the ceremony that we do down at the water to honor those ancestors whose lives were sacrificed during, the grueling Middle Passage across the Atlantic Ocean. On Sunday, June 9th, we will be traveling down to Philadelphia to celebrate Adun Day. Again, those of you who are planning to meet us there in the area can meet us. We generally meet right at that corner where the procession starts, which I believe is 23rd and I think they say 23rd and South Street, but I think it's really Bainbridge. But it's essentially that general area. Those of you who would like to caravan down, again, the email that I send about our field trip weekend will have details about where we'll be meeting for Saturday, where we'll be meeting for Sunday, and also what to wear and what to bring for those two occasions. On Saturday, we wear all white, and on Sunday, we wear the colors of Oshun, so gold, green, things like that. So please plan to be a part of that. Again, Adun Day tends to be a very long day. It's quite a drive from New Jersey, so we generally leave around 9 a.m. After the procession and the offerings, we stick around for a few hours before heading home. So it's a very full field trip weekend, all right? So start to make arrangements if you haven't done so already, and speak to me afterwards if you have any questions. Weprin Pet is approaching. Weprin Pet is the Kemetic New Year's celebration. We have a 4-day, 3-night retreat that we've done annually for quite some time now. And, every year is different than the year before, with initiations, with naming ceremonies, with celebrations of a variety of type, with different rituals that we do to invoke success.
offerings that we give to the Netaru to thank them for their energy and the wisdom that we glean from the reading of the year to help us prepare for the new year now that we've transitioned out of one cycle and into the next cycle. So it is an amazing occasion. There's no Wi-Fi, we're up in the woods, there's running water, it's beautiful, it's serene, it's quiet, and we get to just be together and to eat wholesome foods, to celebrate, to catch up with one another, to worship, and to really just be regenerated and be rejuvenated so that the new year and this new cycle of our lives gets to be started off on such a positive and powerful note versus starting off in some other way, you know. So we start off, you know, with our left foot forward. There are camping spots still available and just a few beds left. So if you haven't made a deposit for your space, I urge you to do so soon. We are nearing the point where anyone who has made a deposit would not be able to get a refund if something, if it's an emergency, that we could discuss that, but if it's not an emergency and you need to back out, you will not be getting a refund once we pass that point. So make your decision soon if you reconsider, but don't reconsider is the point. So, yeah, I just want to make sure everybody who wants to come and is planning to come and thinking that they're coming is actually coming, that they actually have a spot reserved for them and they're actually making plans and arrangements. Typically speaking, we have carpools, you know, groups of people that leave from this area so we can assist with making sure that you have someone to ride with and things like that. And our sisters and brothers from New Offset will be there. We're expecting some sisters and brothers from Raseki Arts Temple to also be there, so it will be another full, you know, family weekend event. You had a question? The dates of the retreat are Thursday, July 25th to Sunday, July 28th. It's the very last weekend in July. All right. And it'll be at Pumpkin Hollow Retreat Center in Prairieville, New York, which is where we've been for the last couple retreats. I want to say like 3 or 4. We've been there now. And it's lovely, you know, they look forward to having us back. We look forward to going back. It is a beautiful retreat location. So I guess that's just about it for now. Go ahead.
Dates for the solstice.
The summer solstice, I have flyers actually. The date for the summer solstice is Saturday, June 22nd.
It's happening on the 16th.
That's just Father's Day. That's communion. It's not just Father's Day. Father's Day is special too, y'all. That's communion. That's a regular communion, and it's Father's Day. So we'll be here as regularly scheduled, and we'll be celebrating our fathers. Yay! All right, I'm gonna clean that up. All right, let me let it go. Okay. All right, but the summer solstice is approaching. Oh, which reminds me, I have flyers. So any of you who are planning to attend Dance Africa next weekend or Memorial Day weekend, I would ask if you could take flyers with you to pass them out in the crowd for the summer solstice. And on that note, I also want to just alert the initiates that I'm going to send out an email for us to have an initiate meeting. You missed the last one. But I would like to talk about a few things related to, you know, just things like distributing flyers and the festival that's approaching and other, other things that could require some brainstorming, some ideas, some contributions of mental energy as well as physical energy as far as keeping our temple running and also growing. So I will send out an email to all the initiates. It will not be an in-person meeting, it will be a Zoom meeting, although anyone who is okay or would like to, will prefer to be in person is welcome to come to my house for the meeting, but it is not a requirement to be in person. I want to make that very clear. But I do want any of the initiates who have ideas, would like to contribute ideas, but also with the mindset that you're being asked to also contribute energy as well. Because I think that's crucial for me to say. We all have really great ideas, but we also have to have the follow through and the execution. So I want to ask that we come with that with that intention in heart, all right? So more information about that soon. That's enough announcements from me. And if anybody has any joys or concerns, okay, Ahadu, come on. So Ahadu has a joy or a concern or a message or a miracle he would like to share. And then after him, if anybody else wants to share something, you all can come to the front.
I have joy to share. So tomorrow, I will be auditioning for Savion Glover and the new tap dance kid. And then on June 1st, I'll be doing a drumming performance, and then another drumming performance on June 8th.
Yes.
The performance on June 8th is at Essex County Mary Birch Theater, and I have to get more information about the June 1st.
Just two brief announcements. On the summer solstice, I'm glad to say on the 22nd that the Reservoir Orchestra is going to be performing there. We're all looking forward to that. You know, they've been asking me about it, and I'm glad we were able to get it going again this year. And, it's good. Also, I just want to let you know about the Nebbet, a reminder about the Nebbet Head beneficent funding. I have to apologize, I'm on medication. Whatever keeps the pain away. The Nebbet beneficently fund. You can make donations. You can see Amicada. If you want to do that. And for those who weren't here, the last Kemmunion, it's a fund that we established for emergency assistance, financial assistance for people who are in the temple. It doesn't have to necessarily be members or initiates, people who come to the temple on a regular basis. And we're going to be having an application process that we can give out. And you can see Amicada, Megaterra, Capresh, Sonicat, or myself, in addition to Hamet. If you want more information.
Ankema, everyone. I'm going to be very brief and just say hello and welcome. It's so nice to see you all. I haven't been here for a little while, so I am so happy to see those of you who are here. And I'm reminded every time that I stand up here that whether there are 5 people in the room or 50, the energy is always the same, and it is because of the beautiful people who are in this room today. So those of us who are supposed to be here are here. We will have some refreshments for you at the back table, the welcome table. It does go towards the Weapon Prep Scholarship, and so it is becoming near, and we would love to have some more support for that so that we can at least support one family or one person who may need some financial assistance with participating. But as always, your presence is enough, so we thank you so much for that. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to stop back and speak to me. But I would just like to say hello to all of you anyway, so if you have a moment, come back and say hi. All right? That's all.
Very briefly, before I head out to the other room with the little ones, just want to remind everyone that we at the temple, we do have our lovely children that you see all the time amongst us, and we oftentimes have to tell our babies to sit down, be quiet and all that. So what we want to do is give them an opportunity where they don't have to sit down and be quiet and be so structured. So what we've created is a play day. And this play date is happening next Sunday, May 26th. That is Memorial Day weekend, but it is happening. It is happening at our brother's house, Mitchell. And we're going to have an afternoon where the children don't have to sit, don't have to fold their hands and be quiet. They can run and jump and rip and run and play and have a grand old time. It's going to be a cookout. We're having a lovely cookout, so we would love for the children to make sure that they are there. And if you have children and you just didn't know about it, then please do join in, because we want you, all the children that are part of our temple, our regular attendees, to be able to get a chance to let your hair down for a moment and just, have a good time and be a kid. Because kids got to be kids too, right? So we wanted to let you have that opportunity. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to touch on, but do our Ranu for making that reminder for the Never Had Emergency Fund. And now, little ones, even though Kumari is not with us today, we're going to head out and have our little class just the same. Do I?
Good morning. So I just wanted to say dua to Abu Kaya for making this lovely chain. She said at last meeting that she makes chains. I'm like, sure, with beads, very, very good. She sent me a picture of it. I was like, wow, this looks good. But then when she showed it to me this morning, I'm like, wow, this looks great. Like, it looks great, feels great. It's kind of weighted, so it reminded me of what the energy is. So I'm very, very happy about that. So if you want some beads, go to Kaya. She also got facial stuff and other things. But if you want to get anything else from her, you can speak to her directly. And that's all I have to say. Dua.
Do I never for that, Justin? Or
Tell me your spiritual name.
Judy Mess.
Judy Mess. Judy Mess. Judy Mess. Judy Mess, okay. So, Uten, Uncle Ma'at. I said the second part first, okay. So, I just wanted to be real brief. I have a new batch of detox toothpaste in the back. It's also serving as a facial mask and also a internal detox. I haven't got my new labels yet, but I have my old labels on there. So it doesn't have the ingredients, but the actual toothpaste has charcoal, activated charcoal. It has diatomaceous earth and also clay, green clay or bentonite clay. The activated ingredients in that is castor oil and black seed oil. And those are some of the ingredients. I'm not gonna give you all, but just in case, you could brush your teeth with it, use it for a clay mask, you can eat it, and it helps to keep things moving right along. So I have a new batch of that, as well as the hair oil and the skin oil. So for those of you who are interested, I have those back there, as well as the organs. I have organ bracelets, necklaces, and waist beads, as well as ankle braids. So come and see me after Kemmunion, and I would be happy to give you a free facial if you're open for that. And until then, I'll see you in the back.
So last communion I got up there and I talked about Baraka beads. So how many people got their Baraka beads yet?
None of us, we're waiting for Sister
So,
Kai.
what'd you say?
I said we're waiting for Sister Kai. We didn't-
I'm doing about order of intervention. I did 2 orders so far. Do I for that charge? Okay, so I have I am doing the Baraka beads by order. You know, if you have a specific color, stone, or anything like that that you would like, size bead that you would like, please let me know. I actually made 2, one for Akurti, and I also have Harmony's order as well. She ordered for her daughter. So I'm doing things customized
as well as I'm personalizing it. So if you would like, I am gonna make some samples, but if you would like a particular bead or stone, let me know, okay? And color.
Do a netter. So what are we grateful for?
Everything.
Okay. I know that they're grateful, but I don't know about everybody else. What are some of the things that we're grateful for?
Breath.
Okay. Wealth, life,
Sun.
energy,
Humor.
Ra,
Joy.
joy,
Love.
each other.
Family.
Family. Okay.
Prosperity and abundance.
So I got a question. I need to sit for the other part. All right, so we're grateful for these things. So how do you feel when you chant out these things?
Powerful.
You feel empowered, right? So part of my thing when I wake up, or more so when I'm walking, I use the Baraka beads and I count everything that I'm grateful for. So, I mean, we have over 1 million different things that we're grateful for. Like I could start off with my toes. I'm grateful that I got toes. You know, I'm grateful that I got legs, because I know there's some people, they don't have legs. I'm grateful for the heart that pumps blood to the rest of my body. You know, I'm grateful for the liver, you know, that takes in the trash and puts the good stuff in and throws out the bad stuff. You know, I'm grateful for my mind. And then I'm grateful for all of you. And when I doing my Baraka beads, I'm thankful for everybody that comes to communion. Like I have 108 beads. So I would say, you know, I'm grateful for Mr. I'm grateful for Hemet. You know, I'm grateful for my Akra. I'm grateful for my mother. I'm grateful for Kisa. You know, I'm grateful for all of you. And what happens is that you get that energy. You feel it. Sometimes we might be troubled or worried about certain things, and just because somebody is thinking of you and sending you energy, that might be the energy that can help you move past what you got to get through. So let's just be mindful of that, just to be able to take in the energy and think of others, as well as ourselves too, of the things that we're grateful for. Like a lot of us, we have rules over our head. We have a job, some of us have jobs, some of us have cars, you know, just to stay in that particular energy, because what you're grateful for and you have an attitude of gratitude, more things will start to open up to you. You know, so just my reflection, doing it.
Unk and Ma'at. I'm grateful for the Kerhead to be grateful to us, as well as Hemet and the Sit Biti. Today is a great holiday for us, a great people. What holiday is today? That's right, that's right. We don't need this European government to recognize a day for us. We have our own recognitions of those who are important in our lives, to and for us. And not only do we recognize this holiday as Malcolm, but are we walking in the path of Malcolm? Before he left a blueprint for us to walk in. And because of the situation of our lives today, which has not been very productive over the years since Malcolm transitioned, it doesn't look like we've been walking in his path. Why not? I can hear a pin drop. So silent I can hear a pin drop. Go ahead, brother, yes.
Because Malcolm X, like a lot of other things, has become commercialized.
Mm-hmm.
We got caught up in the hats, the X's and all that other stuff, but we've lost the meaning. We've lost the value of what he taught.
Right.
That is something that we don't see promoted in mainstream media.
Right. Well, we we're not going to see it all because they don't want us to be able to live it and follow it, right?
It's become more of a fact.
Yeah. And what is one of the quotable quotes that Malcolm has relayed to us? Anybody know any quotes? Is that it? Is that the complete quote, or is that the partial? That's actually the ending of the quote.
Disqualified to avoid all research.
Right, that's another one. That's right.
The ballot or the bullet?
Yeah, but the full quote that ends in "by any means necessary." Y'all don't remember what it was actually Yeah, it was actually a proclamation that he was making for us as African people in America. He said, we reserve our rights to be a man, to be recognized as a man, to be given the rights of being a man. In this society, on this earth, in this day, we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary. That is the proclamation that y'all have to live by. And know the complete thing, not that any means necessary to anything. That's important. And there's another quote that I didn't even know or I've forgotten about, coming up and learning about Malcolm, that I happened to hear on television on a show called Criminal Minds, which is my favorite show that I watch. Criminal Minds series, because it's the criminal minds of Europeans and what you're up against. In each episode, they give a quote at the beginning as well as in the ending of the episode. And they gave this quote by Malcolm X that was really amazing to me, and I had to write it down. I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it's for or against. Did y'all know that quote related to Malcolm X? He said that. I am for truth, no matter, he said that in 1964. I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who it's for or against. Great quotes that we need to live by. They left it for us, and it's our duty to live our lives in it. As the Nasir and Hemet Netter teaches us on a daily basis how to live and what to live for, whom to live for. We need to incorporate these teachings in our lives and live it. I don't know, and it's made me successful in everything I'm doing. You know, my life is content, drama-free. That's right. And all the good things that come with it. Y'all just don't know. But it's of the utmost importance that we walk in the path of our teachers, the master teachers. Right? All right, Duanetta.
Okay, I'll be real brief. After Sir Shep almost gave presentation.
That was communion.
Communion on Malcolm. That's what I'm talking about, Sir Shep. That's a fool, man, when you come out, how never and how much it is to be in your countenance, this Heru Ra. Today is indeed a glorious day. It's a holiday. And to put in context, in our spiritual connection, we do libation. Malcolm is Shepsu. Malcolm is a venerated ancestor. Those who've contributed, those whose contributions have benefited us as a race, as a community, as a society. So pour some libation, teach your family, your youth to honor and respect Malcolm. I also wanted to add on to Ahadu's announcement. It was kind of half-given. And not just Ahadu was performing, two of our temple youth are performing.
Pardon me, that door, sir. Yeah, that door. Thank you. Ahabu is drumming and Saora is dancing. This is for the Umoja and Usama Dance Company's concert, spring concert, June 1st, Saturday, June 1st, 3 p.m. at the Mary Birch Theater of Essex County College. There is some costs I want to tell you about. Unfortunately, my pockets aren't that long. Tickets in advance for adults is $22. For seniors and children below 17 is $17. The day of, adults are $25 and children are $18. If anyone is interested, I can give you the information that you can make payments. You can make payments by Cash App as well as Zelle. But it's a spring concert, and our youth are doing some really big things. He mentioned also he's auditioning for the tap dance kid, but he's also performing. He was hired, him and his young partner was hired several months ago, right up at the head of this block here is Marion Birch Charter. Yes, Sister Keesal put him on to it, and the sister called back. Yeah, do I? So they're performing. And on the 8th, unfortunately, it's tribute to the ancestors, but he has another performance. But y'all gonna be in Coney Island doing what we do. Outside of that, I had another message, but I lost my train of thought. So I'll end there so Sister Keesha can come up and give us these words of wisdom. Do I?
It's like Uncle Mad. We had a full messages today. Just need to lean on something. So I want to share with you just a little guidance for today, and I'm leaning on the podium because I need to use my book, because I want to begin with a provocation again. Really begin with just some food for thought, particularly as we're contemplating the Scorpio full moon that just came in yesterday. The Book of Awakening. So this is one of my favorite books. It's called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. And I just want to share a quick passage that'll help set us up for what we're going to talk about with the reading today. The quick passage is called Never Knowing Where We Fly. Birds learn how to fly, never knowing where the flight will take them. Birds learn how to fly, never knowing where flight will take them. There's a deep and humbling lesson in the way of birds. Their wings grow and stretch and span patches of air, first tentatively and then with confidence. They lift, they plump, they glide, they land. It seems for birds, it is the act of flying that is the goal. True, they migrate to seek out food, but when flying, there's a sense that being aloft is the true destination. Unlike birds, we confuse our time on Earth again and again with obsessions of where we are going, often to the point that we frustrate and stall our human ability to fly. We frequently tame and hush our need to love, to learn, to know the truth of spirit, until we can be assured that our efforts will take us somewhere. All these conditions and hesitations and yes buts and what ifs, they turn the human journey upside down, never letting the heart, the wing that it is, truly unfold. Yet, without consideration or reservation, it is simply the presence of light that stirs the hearts of birds to sing and lift. They do not understand concepts such as holding back or only investing if the return seems certain. In this, we are the only creatures that seek out guarantees, and in so doing, we snuff the spark that is discovery. Just how often do we cripple ourselves by not letting love, with all its risks, teach us how to fly? How many times do our hearts stall because we won't let the wingspan of our passions, of our goals, open fully into our gifts. How frequently do we search for a song of guidance that can only come from inside us? I know that over the years, through fear and expectation, my mind has gathered and hoarded places I needed to go, things I needed to have, selves I needed to be, but here I am, without most of them, the goals and wants all used up in learning how to love. So try as I do to imagine and construct where I'm headed, try as I will to plan and know what this life of feeling means. It is the pulse of what I feel itself that lifts me into spirit. In truth, wings don't grow any differently to fit south or east or west, and our lives, no matter how we try to train ourselves, are more fundamental than any direction of worldly ambition. We, like birds, are meant to fly and sing, and that's all. And all our plans and schemes are twigs of a nest that once outgrown leave. So birds learn how to fly, never really knowing where the flight will take them. And most of us have goals, things that we want to accomplish, things that we wish to do. And yet many of us get so consumed with the goal, so consumed with the actual destination that we never actually really take off. We worry about whether or not we're going to actually get there. Do we have what it takes to get there? We fear what will happen and what people will think if we don't make it. We resent those people and things that have made it harder for us or stood in the way of our getting there. We envy those people who are already there. Or we spend so much time fantasizing about how much better our lives will be, how happier we would be, how much more productive we would be when we get there. And we put so much time and energy and focus on the idea of the destination that we never actually take the first step on the journey, right? Instead of trusting that the path will unfold, we hesitate. Instead of enjoying the journey and finding peace and gratitude and joy in wherever we are at the moment, we worry about all those next steps. And this is what this energy right now is about. Right now, we are under the energy of a Taurus sun and a Scorpio moon. Taurus is about physical control, and Scorpio is about emotional control. And the key to maximizing this full moon is balancing the polarity of these axes. So from last time, we talked about being in Taurus season, and that the Taurus sun is all about the relationship that you make with the physical world and the natural world. And it's not important to only establish something, but to create something that's enduring. And so Taurus season is all about fertilization, it's about growth. It's about the earth beginning to blossom, right? And there's so much magical energy. Taurus is all about abundance, right? It's all about manifestation. So there's so much magic to access right now that this is a great time to do prosperity work. We talked a lot, though, about Saturn and Pluto being in Capricorn, and that's pushing us to make more changes to get more disciplined, right? Saturn is authority, Saturn's maturity, Pluto's power, Pluto's transformation. And so when we think about transforming our lives, when we think about harnessing the power to transform our lives, that comes with maturity, that comes with authority, and that comes with discipline. So it's about thinking about your goals and thinking about which shifts you need to make regarding discipline in order to help them manifest. And so this cycle continues this sentiment, right? Venus is conjunct Uranus, which basically means that there's luck that comes from perseverance. If you work hard, if you stick through it, there's some luck and blessings that come with that. And so full moons are always about completion or endings. And this particular full moon came in at 27 degrees, which in numerology is also about completion. 27 is 9, it's about completion. And the energy right now is all about change. It's about death and it's about rebirth. We die and we're reborn constantly, right? Our bodies literally regenerate themselves, right? We are not the same person. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not the person you were 10 minutes ago. We're completely and always changing, right? And so likewise, as we're thinking about this particular energy, It's thinking about the change that brings a possibility for completion and transformation, and for things to begin to open up for us. Like, what habits, what beliefs, what mindsets do we need to transform in order for us to take flight? Full moons are always about polarities, right? Because the full moon is always on the axis. Full moon is always about the sun and moon being directly opposite one another. And in this particular case, we're talking about the sun and Taurus and the moon and Scorpio, right? And so Scorpio represents your deepest thoughts and desires, and Taurus represents that sort of sensory energy, the physical world. And the Taurus energy is about stability, right? Wanting to be established on the earth. And so a lot of that's about staying the same. Taurus is about possession, but that Scorpio energy is about transformation and about letting go. Right, so how are you going to balance this polarity, right? Your desire to, or your urge in some cases, to be stable, to stay the same, but the need for transformation, the need to let things go if you're going to truly evolve. The great thing about the Scorpio energy, though, is that, Scorpio energy is likened to the phoenix, right? It's likened to Kepler, right? And that Scorpio energy is symbolically about sort of burning down and rising from that ashes, right? It's about something symbolically needing to die in order for something new to be reborn. Let it go, or at least let go of the grip that it has on you, right? And that Scorpio moon can help you to transmute these energies. Scorpio is the light bringer. It helps literally to transform dark into light, right? It's literally Kepler emerging from the dung. Remember, I've said this before, we are all only as sick as our secrets. So what is it that you're hiding? What do you need to reveal? If you don't name it, you can't tame it. And so this brings us back to our goals and our past and the notion of letting go and letting go to the grips of the things from our past that have a hold on us. What would it mean if you decided that you wanted it, whatever that it is, you wanted it more than you're afraid of it? What would it mean if you wanted it more than you're afraid of letting go, afraid of losing it, more than you're afraid that you don't deserve it? The thing is, we need to be honest with ourselves, right? This is about, Scorpio is always about deep honesty. It pushes us to be honest with ourselves. And if you can't be honest with other people, at least be honest with yourself. At least be honest with yourself about what that thing is that you really feel, that you really fear, that you really want. Because we're not naming it, and those are the things that are keeping us stuck. I just want to remind you not to confuse movement with progress. Don't confuse activity with productivity. Just because you are moving doesn't mean that you're taking steps forward. And this energy is about how are you actively taking a step forward, even if you don't know the whole path. How can you release the need for control, the need to know everything without taking the whole path? Because the thing is, you don't know exactly how electricity works, but you trust that when you flip the switch, it'll illuminate the room. You don't know exactly how a plane works, but you trust that when you get on board that it's going to take you to your next destination. Yet when it comes to your own goals, if you don't know exactly how it's going to work, you don't take that first step. You never flip the switch of your goals. You never actually get on board with your dreams because you can't name exactly how it's going to work out. The lesson here is in releasing that control, finding the balance between establishing and manifesting what you want through releasing the need to have control over everything. Scorpio energy is a magical time, right? It's also a great time to do prosperity rituals. It's when you go to a full moon cycle, just remember Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. Wax on. So when you're in a waxing moon, that means the moon is growing. That's between the new moon and full moon. Wax off. That's how I first learned it. That's when it's a dying moon, essentially. It's between the full moon and the new moon. So right now we're in a waning period. The waning moon is when the moon is dying. So we're in a waning moon right now. So it's a good time to let things go, right? The moon is losing light, losing energy, and it's a good time to do something that promotes reduction or promotes limits, right? So start a diet, start a fast, get more disciplined in some way. Clean up your house, organize yourself, end a relationship, right? Do rituals that involve letting go. Bring old bonds or eliminate bad habits or get rid of relationships that no longer serve you, because this moon gives you the insight on how to best maximize this time, right? Those deep emotional ties, those deep secrets, this is the exact time to eliminate those old habits and to begin to seek resolution with them. This is the time to tap. This is the time to take a series of spiritual baths to release that. This is the time to lean into the tools that you have for resolving and letting go. And Scorpio is also associated with magic and with the hidden and the occult. So it's also a good time for prosperity rituals, for tantra or sex rituals, for amping up your altar work. And I want to just emphasize that we always talk about the new moon and full moon cycles, but the moon moves changes signs every few days, right? So while we're in a Scorpio moon now, and we're in a Taurus sun now, in a couple of days, we will be in a Gemini sun. We will move on to a Sagittarius moon. So I encourage you, while the full moon energy lasts 2 weeks, while the new moon energy lasts 2 weeks, I encourage you to use today and tomorrow to do some of this altar work, to do some of this healing work so you can maximize the energy before the moon shifts. And so I'll just leave you in the way that I began. Birds learn how to fly, never really knowing where the flight will take them. Imagine if birds said, well, I'm not gonna learn how to fly until I know exactly where I'm going, exactly how my wings are gonna work, exactly, like that would be ridiculous, right? And so ponder your own life and think about where it has or has not taken flight and examine your need for control and how that might be stifling your ability to soar. Do I not say?
Sushet ma'at pu ma'at.
Truth is truth.
Sushet Quran in ma'at.
Go forth and live in truth.
Sushet ma'at eru.
Embrace the light of your highest reality.
Nasut Biddy Rasan Ku Kappa. Warrior. Two. Priest. Two. Healer. Two. Divine leader. Two. King. Two. Jeleken ma'at.
Speak firmly of truth.
Jeleken eter ma'at.
Speak divine truth.
Jeleken etru ma'at.
Speak the truth of the Netru.
Jeleken hamentu ma'at.
Speak the ancestors' truth.
Jeleken first.
Speak well.
Sudan Jordan.
Fear nothing.
Everybody please rise and give energy to the Nasut Biddy Rasan Ku Kappa. Immortal.
Amatu Panetir.
Amatu Panetir.
Sawek Tuamintin Panetir.
Sawek Tuamintin Panetir.
Audwalma.
Audwalma.
Keti Paheru.
Keti Paheru.
The translation is thus.
Give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself to God daily. And make tomorrow yesterday.
We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive, and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neturul Ra, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength, and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibilities in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akiru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality, and in the moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down. So it is, so shall it be. Amen Ma'at.
Amen
Ma'akiru. 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 Let's see. You on the way?
You on the way?
Before I get started, I want to deal with the pet peeves first. Y'all know what that is, right? Grievance, right? I'm gonna need you all to get the herb called Golden Colon. Y'all heard that one before? Golden Colon. What's that for? You never heard that? About to find
For your memory. Go to GOTO.
Let's slow it down. So what is Golden Colon for? Brain memory, right?
Yeah.
So what I see is we are challenged in the area of memory. I'm being facetious. We have a habit of forgetting charges in here, I see. Y'all remember the hashtag no empty seats charge? Y'all remember no half empty rooms charge? So it looks like we need some Golden Colon. So now I understand, like we speak a lot about leadership and some people are against leadership and some people feel like I don't need anyone telling me what to do. And they feel like they're self-governing. So I challenge you and I say self-govern. If you get in charge and you don't want someone micromanaging and you say that you're an adult and you're expected to self-govern yourself, right? So the charge really was for the initiates and citizens. They're required to be here. It's their responsibility to be here. It's the charge of the initiate citizens to make sure other initiate citizens are here. And then take it from there, whether the initiate citizens bring new people in. We're always welcoming new people, but certain people are supposed to be here every time. Not sometimes, not every other communion, every time, right? So, getting on my daddy stuff. Father's back. I haven't spoken, we have guests here, so they like, what's going on here? So I haven't spoken in about, the mic, I'm gonna MC. So I haven't spoken in about 2 months. I have a personal code that if I'm not inspired, I don't speak. Isn't that a good code? So I watch on social media, primarily YouTube, and I look at the conversations that go on in our community. Because we all want our things to grow, right? I think everybody in every movement want their things to grow. So when you're listening to the dialogue, you have to have your pulse on the street and listen to what the people are saying. You can decide, I'm going to teach the community this because they need to know this. And then on the streets, the community don't care about none of that stuff. They're talking about something totally different. So we find ourselves in a conundrum when on our side, I don't care what the community's talking about. Or what if what they're talking about is not worthy of talking about. So then we get into this conundrum. I understand that speaking is a sacred art. What about you? You understand speaking is a sacred art? Speaking is a sacred act. That's why truly spiritual people are curiously quiet. Y'all know Mook from New Orleans at Temple, she's curiously quiet. Because we understand that there's layers to your consciousness. You contemplate the darkness in the silence. And in the silence, you develop your intuition. And in the silence, you develop your logic. In the silence, you develop the balance between the intuition and the logic. It's called intuitive logic. So in this society, if you're too intuitive, if you're too spiritual, they say you're pseudo, right? And if you're too logical, they say you're not spiritual enough. So you have to find the balance and become intuitively logical. So we're talking about the word. A lot got said today, but we got to get back to fundamental teachings. I'm always going to get you into the fundamentals. It's like martial arts class. It doesn't matter if it's your first or your last day. You're going to know you're going to have to go through the basics. You can't just start on the third floor. You're going to have that foundation. And there's no growth without the foundation. It's actually dangerous to try to grow without the foundation. It's actually unintelligent to try to grow without the foundation. So in the Bible, they say in the beginning was what? The Word. Let's go to Africa. In Africa, the Dogon people, they say in the beginning was the Nomo. The Nomo is the Word. And in the Metanetter, in the scripture says, many were the words that came from my mouth. Many beings came from my mouth. When I spoke, existence itself came into existence. So here you have three traditions that's starting with the Word. So I told you, if I'm not inspired, I stay silent. It reminds me of a Chinese proverb. It said, if your words are not better than silence, then you should remain silent. I like that. Don't just pour out the mic. I just got started. So if your words, y'all want to wait for the mic or?
Keep going.
We can hear you.
So if the words are not better than silence, you should remain silent. So I know some people like, you just talk about the Bible, now you from China, I thought we supposed to be going to Africa. You know, I got it covered. I gave y'all the no more, right? What is happening? So Ptah-Hotep, y'all heard of Ptah-Hotep, right? He said the same thing. He said, speak only when you have something of worth to say. So it should be a whole lot of people more silent when you look at social media, right? So speaking should come from contemplation and revelation. Speaking should come after contemplation and revelation. I tend not to like to use the word revelation because it sounds Christian. We're not Christian. When you look at the word revelation, it comes down to reveal. Veil is the cover. Re means to do again, to repeat. So to reveal something is to recover it, to cover it again. So that can't be what we're talking about. So we're talking about unveiling, unvelation. So speaking should come after contemplation and unvelation. What else does Ptah-Hotep says? The quote goes on. It says, one who speaks in council. When I'm up here speaking to you all, I'm speaking in council to you all as a community. When I do a personal reading or divination, that's council. So this is what it says. It says, one who speaks in council has to be an excellent craftsman with words. An excellent craftsman with words. Do you know what a craftsman or craftsperson is? Break it down to one word. What's a synonym for it? It starts with an E. Expert. It said we should be experts with words. So once again, when I look at social media, I understand that today's standards in the West often contradict what our ancestors set up. They set up a tall order for us. And it's like everything in today's society is trying to get away from the tall order. We're supposed to be trying to become great, and everybody's trying to be regular and trying to dress regular up like it's great and make it seem like great is corny.
Wow.
So here they said, become experts with words. So now in today's society, when you become an expert with words, they say you talking white. So if you're a man and you're talking white or becoming an expert with words, they say you sound gay. We were talking about that at the last communion. I remember coming up, people used to say KRS-One sounded gay. Y'all know who KRS-One is? Blastmaster KRS-One, one of the best MCs ever. And when he's talking, people say, he sounds gay. What is that about? KRS-One always considered himself a teacher. Teachers are known to enunciate words. So he's articulating himself. And guess what? He comes from the same hood as the rest of them. Because the hood has its accent. The hood has its accent and they truncate words. They take the G's off the end of the words. So he doesn't say teacher, he says teaching. So they call that talking white. Or they say you're sounding like a politician. Politicians are good with words. They say you're double talking, right? So now people are choosing to dumb down their speech. People are choosing to be crude. People are choosing to be rude. People are choosing to be verbally abusive, all under the auspice of the, what is that? Freedom of speech. So when you look at certain people, you be like, nah, player, you ain't the one to be, you don't need to be the one talking. You don't need to be the one articulating that truth. You can see into it where they're going, but we don't always see the best representatives of the truth, right? That's why I like Farrakhan. We never seen Farrakhan his whole tenure. We never seen him off-center. Best example of a leader. So I don't know who the rest of these cats is looking at. So with the freedom of speech, people are using their right to freedom of speech to cause chaos, to offend, to cause confusion, and they're just totally comfortable with it. Everyone today's now become a contrarian. You know what that is? We learned some words up in here. Contrarian. So everybody, whatever you say, they're gonna say the opposite. Now we can't agree upon anything. So how do you grow when we can't agree upon anything? You say, I'm Kemetic. And they say, no, you're not, you're Hebrew. I said, no, I'm Kemetic. No, you're not, you're Moor. Say, I'm African. No, you're not, you're American. You're indigenous. We say, well, we need to speak more. They go, well, it's not our language anyway. You can't win. You can't even have conversations. But Tahatep goes on to say, speaking is more difficult than any other task. Would y'all agree? Yes. Some people be straight sweating when they come up here to speak. It's the hardest thing. People rather get shot than to come up and speak. Like, yeah, go up there. They're giving me flyers in the back. You go up there and tell them. No, you're like, no, you go up there and tell them. Seriously, I think it's been a study. Like some people, public speaking, since fear, they're reacting like somebody got a gun on you. So I say, what is it? Speaking is more difficult than any other task. I say responsible speaking, circumspect speaking is more difficult than any other task. Because social media is telling you that nobody cares what's coming out their mouth. So about being circumspect, making sure you don't offend, to be insightful, that's hard. To go up there and to get up here and say something of worth, to say something of some substance, that's the challenge. I say all the issues with people and relationships are coming down to communication and interpretation. Would you agree? Communication and interpretation. My younger brother said that it comes down to content and context. Content is what's being said, and context, do you understand, do you interpret it right? The worst thing in the world, this is another pet peeve, the worst thing is to hear something I told somebody out of context. You ever had that happen to you? You say something to somebody and they tell somebody else and it's making you seem like you was a monster? So it goes back to communication and interpretation. Now we find that a good percentage of our communities is challenged with comprehension. It's always an issue. Most issues in relationship comes between that. You ever get to the point where you hear people, they be like, well, I just spoke the truth. I'm speaking my truth, when they're weaponizing the truth. Sometimes they say those things to cover up just being mean-spirited, all under the auspices of speaking the truth. When the reality is, when speaking, you should intuit the other person's emotional profile, so you can then craft your message in a way that's most likely for them to receive it. There you go. You have to intuit a person's emotional profile to see if you can navigate your message in a way where they're most likely to receive it. Me personally, I get it right 9 out of 10 times. So if I get it right 9 out of 10 times and I mess up once, so if I know 300 people, how many people have I offended? 30. That's a lot of people to have an issue with you, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it, I got 270 people singing my praise. So it nullifies the 30. Let's not excuse the receiver of the information. Because we could get up here and like, yeah, I have to be responsible. I got to make sure I speak to people right, make sure my tones are right. But the person that you're speaking to, they have a responsibility to be intuitive also. Now listen to this. All relationships come with expectations. On the speaker's behalf, you want the people to understand, on the listener's behalf also. All relationships come with expectation. It is your responsibility to find out what expectation has been placed upon you. Because sometimes we don't realize that. You think you got this understanding and they done projected some stuff on you you ain't signed up for. So you need to know what you're dealing with within the relationship so you can be like, nah, I'm playing, I know, right? That's what you expected? So you can never, or you should never utter the words, I ain't even do nothing. When you say those words, I ain't even do nothing, that means you failed to fulfill the expectation, someone's expectation, whether you knew it or not. So you're never innocent. You're always playing an intricate role in a relationship. So it's your job to get clarity. So I was looking at another text from Merikari. We're talking about the word. We're talking about speaking. Listen to what Merikari said. Ptah-hotep said the other thing about speaking is the most difficult task. Make sure when you speak is something of worth. He said, become a craftsman with words. Watch what Merikari says. He says, to have strength, be a craftsman of words. There we go again. It says to have strength, to be strong. It said you have to be a craftsman of words. Goes back to expert of words. To have strength, to be strong, you have to be an expert at words. Then it goes on to say this. Watch this. Y'all need to write this one down because this is hot. It says the power of a man and a woman lies in their language and words. The power of a man or a woman lies in their language and words. We say Hekah, right? Hekau, that spiritual authority. So they can't be talking about learning another language. Remember, the power of a man and a woman comes in their language and words. I know the Moors will love this and here, because you got to get in the Lord. You're like, no, I ain't talking about that. And so this is a Kemetic text. So if they say the power lies in language and words, this is not about learning another language, even though for us that's an asset. To know Rani, Kemet, or Metonetta should be one of our priorities, because in America, we're speaking the Queen's English, and all the other ethnicities can flow between their language and the Queen's English. And when they don't want you to, hold up, they're speaking English, they speaking about me. And what do we have? Ebonics, right? We just take the G's off, thinking we got our own language. So your language gives you at least the illusion of exclusivity. Just like the Jews, just like the Arabs, just like the Spanish. You gotta have your language, but that's not what the text is talking about, because these people were speaking Metonetta, so he can't be talking about learning another language. At the end of the day, he's speaking about the power of influence. How to speak to people, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Y'all ever heard of that book? Understand, y'all know the Nation of Islam has some of the most powerful speakers on the planet. Y'all know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not a formidable speaker, right? Have y'all ever heard him speak?
Yeah.
Because I used to always wonder, like, how did this little man start this whole nation? And all his speakers just be killing it, but none of them sound like him. All of them sound like the rest of each other, but none of them sound like him. Elijah Muhammad made his teachers take Dale Carnegie's course. That's how they became the speakers that they became today. He knew his weakness and he strengthened it through his people. That was a course, that was way back when Dale Carnegie was alive. So what did it just say? Your power lies in language and words. So I suggest you get that book. It'll teach you how to keep the G's at the end of the night. How to win friends and influence people. Yeah. So it's coming down to how to talk to people. So now watch this. How do we talk to people? What if I said like this? Yo, Kerheb, I got this entertainment center that I just bought. Y'all know nobody has entertainment centers no more. They got stuff on the wall and this stuff is in the clouds. You know, work with me though. I got this entertainment center and I'm retarded when it comes to stuff like this. So if you got a couple hours on Saturday, come through, knock it out for me. I'll give you $20 something to eat. Can you do it? Or what if I say it like this? Yo, Kerhead, what you doing Saturday? That's when they be like, nothing. Yo, can you come over Saturday and fix this? You know, now it's sounding like it's a chore. He wants me to come over Saturday. That might take all day. Because check it out, sometimes nothing is doing something. Who you wait for the weekend to do nothing or do what you want to do, and sometimes doing nothing is doing something. So no one opens their schedule on the status. Let me open my schedule to see if somebody need a favor from me. Nobody does that. You do? Me? I don't. You do? We're gonna get into it. Watch how the rest of this lecture ends. So it's coming down to how you speak to people, to be able to influence people. It's talking about charisma. So here all of this time you spoke about, or we thinking we need some mystical, magical, metaphysical power to hold sway over people, and it's all coming down to how you speak to people. Not how you speak at people, but how you speak to people. That's why I say meaning what you say and saying what you mean is the essence and the foundation of magic. We talk about magic a lot in here. Meaning what you say and saying what you mean is the essence of magic. So that means when you say something, you have to do it. It goes back to in the beginning was the word, the beginning was the nomo. So that means something starts as a thought or idea, then you speak it, and then you marshal all forces to put that thing into existence until it comes into manifestation. Y'all got it? So that means you need to learn how to always do what it is that you say you're gonna do, or your magic is not gonna work. Even if it's looking like it's unfruitful for you to always do what it is that you say you're gonna do. So what does that mean? That means if you say you're gonna do something and be somewhere, then you can't come an hour and a half late. You can't oversleep. You can't totally forget. You can't get in your funky little moods and set up circumstances to give you a way out of not honoring your obligation. We have to learn the power of not caring. Sounds crazy, right? I seen that somewhere on YouTube. I didn't watch the video. It said the power of not caring, but watch this. It's talking about being indifferent to obstacles. So that means you always stay on course and always stay on code. That means if something urgent could come up, and if you're God-like, then you stay on course. To be like, yo, such and such happened. People, I gotta go to work, but my mother, my job. Be like, what happened? Okay, hold on, let me get finished with what I'm doing. I'm gonna finish up what I'm doing. I'm gonna be right over after that. Some people just break out. We're talking about having unbreakable resolve. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people, powerful and powerless, is that one has unbreakable resolve and the other has unlimited excuses. One sticks to doing what they said they were going to do, and the other has a long list of justified reasons of why they had to break their resolve. In Peru it says, let your thoughts be living incantations spoken by you. That's powerful. I'll repeat that, write that one down. Let your thoughts be living incantations spoken by you. That means you need to take that into meditation. What does that mean? I want to move on to giving props to the Sahura. Emet, Kerhead, Armical, Kisa, Majudi, Rock. They did their thing for the past 2 months that I didn't speak. I knew they did their thing because nobody asked when was the next time I was speaking. That's how you know they did a good job. And y'all should know y'all doing bad if people whispering and so when you go back up there to speak. That's why I was in no rush to get up there. I was like, nah, they doing good. And it feels good to sit back and watch their growth, to watch their insight, right? So it got me thinking about greatness. 20 years ago, a friend of mine, I had this conversation with you all before. 20 years ago, a friend of mine asked me, what is greatness? And I got stumped. It's hard for a young person to answer what is greatness. Some people define greatness as finishing your education, getting a home, a car, whatever, for doing something for your people, doing something for your family, and those things are great. But me and my personal experience, I like to read through the text. Everybody should get this book. We got some good stuff in here. I like to read through the text. When you're reading through the text, the gods and the ancestors speak to you directly. So I put myself in a position like, why reinvent the wheel? Some of the things I don't have to figure out. Some of the things our ancestors already spoke about and gave clarity on how we're supposed to go about it. So greatness means different things to people in different stations of life, right? So in my capacity, I'm reading the text and it says like this. Powerful is the one whose nobles are great. Powerful is the leader whose assistants are competent. We're gonna stick with that one, the word competent. Whose assistants are competent. So here I am, I'm sitting here in front of communion. Here we are, Kemites, in the communion. What does that mean? We're people who aspire to live the code of enlightenment and empowerment as according to ancient Nile Valley civilization. Do we need to repeat that?
Me too.
When we say that we're Kemites, it means that we're aspiring to live the code of enlightenment and empowerment according to the teachings of the ancient Nile Valley civilization. It don't mean we're direct bloodline to the Kemites. The Kemetic culture is a code. So we emphasize particular culture versus planetary presence. There's this argument on who we are. Everybody's arguing about labels and names and where we originate. Now we're using the words indigenous, and that's an ambiguous term, indigenous. We was all over the planet. We ain't just ancient Egyptians. Yeah. Check it out. But planetary presence is not a way of life. Remember them people in the Andaman Islands that shot that Christian missionary? You ask them about the Asiatic black men or all of whatever the stuff that we talk about over here, they ain't gonna know what you're talking. They be like, I'm from the Andaman Islands, fool. Step back. They don't care about none of the Kemetic stuff or Europe or Australia. They be like, I'm from the Andaman Islands, stay off. So that's what it is. So we've just chosen. So I won't get into this dialogue about who we are, who we're not. At this point in time in our evolution, you need to pick something. You need to pick your tribe and do something good. Do something great, right? At this point, it's clear nobody's talking nobody out of what it is that they're into. Right. Just the whole process of trying to talk somebody out of something that they have sacred feelings for incites something in them and makes them go harder with it. It's a very small percentage of conversion going on in the conscious community. Right. So we need to knock that off. So planetary presence is not a way of life, it just informs and affirms antiquity. Did y'all hear that? It just informs and affirms antiquity. Yes, black folks have been on all over the world forever. So what? What are you gonna do? And what you're calling yourself means nothing anymore. What are you gonna do? What are you doing? This thing is coming down to lifestyle. Lifestyle is the tapestry that brings together nationality, spirituality, magic, all of that. None of this works if you don't have a lifestyle. It's just talking. It's just spouting platitudes. So now, in communion, I'm teaching, but over the course of years, people put themselves in a position, now they're raising their hand. They say, now I want to help. Who thinks they want to help? Just 2 people, just 3 people, a room full of people. See, this is what's wrong with black folks. You have to do that, gotta blame it on the people. So check it out. So now, help is the same as assist, right? So let's go back to the text. It said, powerful is the leader whose assistants are competent. So now, we have to find out what do you do? Are you any good? But is good being competent enough? And we don't have that conversation enough in the community. Some people get into business and thinking they should be rich and everybody's supposed to be supported because you're black. Are you competent though? Is the stuff that you produce worthy of gracing my home? Like, I got my mama coming over, can I have your product in front of my mama? You know, like, you gotta look at it like that. You missing stitching in your clothes, like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I did miss that. To assist, you must be competent. In metal natural, what's the word for good? Never. So in our culture, good is not enough. Good is about a state of being. Good is about character. The good character is called bit nefer. Say that? It means sweet disposition. It means having a good disposition, a good attitude about things. So being good is an ideal, but when it comes to duty and doing things, they don't use the word nefer, they use the word eker. Eker means excellent. Eker means, coming from the word ak, it means well equipped. Are you well equipped to help? Are you well equipped to assist in this legacy? Here's a quote from Ani. It says, everyone can master their own nature if the wisdom which they have been taught has made that nature stable. Wow. So if you got an anger issue, has the wisdom you receive stabilized your anger? If you goofy, so you've been given tools. And the tools you've been given have been made to make your mind inclined to order. Order is balance. So everyone in here formally learned how to meditate, right? So if you're truly into meditation, your mind should be inclined to order. People in here do ritual, right? Ritual, if you do ritual is about ordering your space and your time. So here we have ordering the mind, ordering your space and your time. And then there's initiation, it's ordering the direction of your life. So the order of the mind, space and time, and direction of their life. So if these things aren't second nature to you, then you're not competent in the Kemetic sense. Now remember, competent in English means something different in metal. Remember, competent means good, you're good enough. Competent in metal means you're excellent, well equipped, are you trained? Check this out. Do you look like you're well equipped to represent the legacy? No, you're not. You ain't ready now. So if this, I like the Nation of Islam because they served as the best, the most consistent example of having your act together in the community. I haven't seen it in the Kemetic community. I haven't seen it in the Ifa as much. We see efforts, but the Nation of Islam has been consistent. When I see a person in the Nation of Islam with an FOI or the MG, what's that? MGT. How many people know people personally in the Nation? I'm doing a commercial for the Nation of Islam. All right, can't you tell when the person is in their uniform and when they're out of uniform, can't you see that translate into their personal life? Yes. That sharpness, right? Yes, sir. I'm asking these questions because this is what you have to ask yourself in reference to this Kemetic legacy. Because I believe certain folks just be Kemetic on Sundays. And we can't tell, if I catch you next week or tomorrow, you looking like you ain't got no association to this. So I could tell a person in the Nation of Islam by how they talk, they have a glow in their skin. I don't know anybody in the Nation of Islam with a long-standing health condition. Watch this. Do you smell like you represent the Kemetic race? So now we're talking about a hygiene thing. We gotta talk about it. Like sometimes we be thinking we grown and we not. So some people are walking around being human diffusers of funk. Where am I going with this? In African culture, you will usually offer up to the deity. Remember we say, I'm a two impanat, to give yourself to God daily, keep yourself to God daily, right? So in the African culture, traditional society, you will offer up animals, right? Or you will offer up your fruits and your vegetables, right? The difference in those societies, that was your animals, that was your fruit and your vegetables. They wasn't going to the store to buy these things. So they picked animals that had no blemish. They would pick the best of their animals to give to God. They would pick the best of their fruit to give to God. How many people just go to Whole Foods and just get this stuff? I'm giving this to the altar. Do you pick the ones without blemish? You're like, hold on, I'm going around the store to the corner store right here and get a banana. Is it without blemish? So we say giving yourself to God. So are you without blemish? Are you healthy and whole to represent? Are you healthy and whole for God or God's and your ancestors to move through you? They offer the deities like fragrant incenses, right? We keep the incense burning in the room. In traditional society, that says sweet smells represents the presence of the deity. So if you don't, sometimes, if you really into your practice, sometimes if you don't have no incense burning, you'll smell a sweet smell. Jasmine, you'll smell roses. Those are the signs that the deity is near. So are you fragrant? After communion, they're gonna be in the back. Oh my God, it doesn't smell good. Because are you a walking, talking aromatherapy diffuser? We understand aromatherapy is a science, right? When you smell something, it affects your olfactory nerve. The olfactory nerves is responsible for processing your emotions. So things that smell good, like flowers, tend to have a positive effect on you. So now if you're speaking to somebody and your breath is funky, your underarms are swinging, are they receiving you? Huh? Yeah, they're receiving something, spit flying from your mouth, and spit smelling. Yeah, so imagine a whole community that got their act together, that's smelling, talking good. Oh, you will have a much more greater impact than you have just freestyling. Remember I said you can't freestyle yourself into greatness. Some people get it right every now and then, but as a way of life, no. So watch this from Amin Naket, Hassan Naket's brother. It says, take heed to my words. Be competent in every task. Be married to perfection. So now we got to stop all that. Nobody's perfect. I'm only human. It's saying be married to perfection. So yeah, nobody's perfect. You're only human, but you got to be dang near perfect. And what does near means in a proximity to perfection. Why? Because it said be married to perfection. So stop being comfortable at the low end of perfection. It goes on to say be without fault. So that's backing it up again. So it's telling you no excuses. Excellence has to be your standard. And watch this, this is powerful. It says, make your heart a solid wall against that which waves will break. So make your heart a solid wall against that which waves will break. Your heart is your mind, your conscience, your conscientiousness. So you got to get your mind right. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about that unbreakable resolve. So when you have that unbreakable resolve, when the waves come, the waves is breaking, because we know the ocean is strong. The ocean be tearing stuff down. So it's telling you that you have in the power of your mind, you can make the water break. So the waves are the challenges in life. And check it, this is how it ends. It says, and yes, the waves will indeed come. What does that mean? That means life isn't hard. It just means your resolve is not strong enough. Life doesn't get easy. It just means your resolve got stronger. So if we really want this thing to grow, we have to be competent. I'm gonna end it with the quote that I feel like it encompasses competency. It's the example of our ancestors. It say, in the days of the ancient, the walls did not crumble and fall, and thorns did not prick. Victories were certain because great people made them certain. We're talking a community of competent people, people with excellence as a standard. The best buildings stood because the best erected them. Not good people, not the pretty good, not naturally talented people, people who had excellence, ikr, as their standard. They were never too, but they were also ikr. The answers were accurate because questions were precise. And goes with what we're talking about in the community. People are not having the right dialogue. That's why things are not getting done and not asking the right questions. Life was fruitful because living was harvested daily with care and kindness. We talk about we're spiritual agriculturists. So if you have unshakable resolve and you planted something last year, you should be seeing your seed, your return this year. So it's like we harvested daily. So in your prayers and your meditations, all of it gets answered if your resolve is unbreakable. To be honest, 9 out of 10 times I got most of the stuff I prayed for and put out in the universe. It didn't come in my time, it came in divine time. Sometimes it took so long that I forgot I asked for it. Yes. So if you got unbreakable resolve, you should have never forgot you asked for it. So that was my shortcoming, right? But then you start, this is a miracle. You're like, nah, fool, you prayed for that 10 years ago. It ain't a miracle, you just forgot. And it says, in victories, we won because we knew how to win. We sacrificed and we did what had to be done. That goes back to the unshakable resolve. You cannot oversleep, you cannot come late, you cannot forget. Because you knew what needed to be done, you knew things had to be sacrificed. Sacrifice means to give up, right? You have to decide what needs to be given up. You have to cut the fat in your life. Sometimes people, places, and things and circumstances are the fat. You need to decide what has to go. So what is the takeaway? The takeaway is 3 things. Us as a people need to learn how to speak. We need to become experts with words, right? We have to learn how to talk to one another. How you know? Number 2, your word is your reputation. And your reputation will determine if people will support or ignore you. 3, lastly, whatever you do, in whatever you do, be excellent. Dang near perfect. That concludes the message. So let's stand up, close out. Give energy around the room. Bring it into the heart. Retract your foot back. Bring it down your body on the count of 3. Stomp out, round it with your right foot. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Before you go, please do not forget to make a donation for today's community. You can do so by leaving the bowl here, where you can give it to Sir Chef Harvey House. Please make sure to visit the welcome table and leave a separate donation there. The donations there go towards keeping the welcome table full, as well as funding the Westwood Pet Scholarship Fund.
I was wondering, I'd never seen you. You haven't been here since. I'm like, Yeah, exactly.
Yes, what asked me to send you the link.
Oh.
I'm so glad I put it. And he said like he's
Okay. Oh yeah, you know what? Now I remember because what's his name? The brother that's in Ghana.